Hello, my battalion of viewers. I'm the Knight of Arcane, and today we'll be turning Pokemon into a D&D adventuring party, as voted on by Patreon. Ironically, this is inspired by an original idea that Drawfee did, though I also had FNAF, Digimon, and Ben 10 Aliens as the option for Patreon to vote on. But I made a chart on which Pokemon I'll use, and a chart for D&D class, and rolled for the results to see who we would design today, and their class. Anyways, let's check out our Pokemon adventuring party, shall we? A new adventure is about to start, as free new adventurers start to meet for a quest. The druidic elf, Garleanne, glides through the tavern, weary of others, for she has spent most of her life in the forest of the Fae. She found herself there after an argument at home, one that caused the young girl to run away and get lost, finding herself in the magical forest. Garleanne was raised by the spirits, Fae, and the weird nature of these woods, helping her learn the druidic craft and how to live with nature. For many long years, she never even thought of leaving. Yet one morning, Garleanne awoke under a tree, now dead, while everything else still seemed to grow around it. She knew this unnatural rot needed to be looked into, so the elf left the forest, looking for the source so that her home may not fall to this blight. Now in an unfamiliar environment and needing coin, a quest draws Garleanne to an interesting group, who would easily help her out if Garleanne can open up to them. Of the free class choices I rolled up, I thought it would just be very interesting to turn Gardevoir into a druid. Thinking it kind of could work, especially since she is also a, fairy type Pokemon, and had the image of, someone with a Gardevoir-like hairstyle and antlers, and just really wanted to draw it. I decided to make her an elf so that her ears could represent the kind of spike things that are on Gardevoir's head, and try to emulate the green parts of Gardevoir's torso and arms with a sort of dress with the long sleeves and, a little bit up there. I stuck mainly to using greens, pinks, and whites in the outfit, along with some brown, because it's still fantasy. Though I made the waist cape and the cloak a darker color to represent her mega. Overall, I think I was able to accomplish making Gardevoir into a druidic elf, and hope you enjoy her. This quest has caused many adventurers from far-off lands to journey to take part in it. Yet, in the corner of the tavern, Ferros was told to come here before the quest was even issued out. A tiefling from a far-off land, she was a simple sheep farmer in a small oasis town, who prayed to the storm gods for the rain they may get, and to the desert god for allowing them to flourish in his domain. When she was a teen, however, her village was attacked by bandits looking for a vault said to be below the town. Most were killed, but the survivors, like Ferros, were forced to dig up the oasis to find what they were looking for. More died due to the working conditions and the heat, but soon the door to the vault was unearthed. Yet it would not open for anyone. That night, a voice whispered into Ferros's mind, calling her to the door that she was somehow able to open, blinding her before she blacked out. When she came to, she found herself in the vault, a sword of blue and green lightning in her hand, and a weird ancient skull in front of her. The bandits were gone, as was the rest of the town's survivors. Ferros now wanders the world, and has been for many years, looking for any leads on the bandits or the survivors, following the voice of her new patron. The voice knew about this quest before it was even issued, telling her where to go and to join it once it's issued, for it will help her find the answers she's been looking for. She hasn't ignored the talking skull once since waking with it, so Ferros isn't about to ignore it now. I knew this was going to be a very interesting character to make. I had a few troubles with the hair because I wanted to give the horns and also hair buns to have both reference Ampharos's normal horns. So it was hard to try to get them to work how I wanted. But figured out something in the end, along with giving it a high ponytail to reference the Mega Evolution in a bit. I made her into a tiefling, since Ampharos's line are sheep, even if Ampharos doesn't look so much like a sheep in the end. So it makes sense, since tieflings are, very demon-like, and the stereotypical demon has very goat-like features in their horns and feet. So it makes a lot of sense. Though it did also take a lot of time trying to figure out how the legs would work. That I need to practice a little bit more on. There are parts of the outfit that could be considered monk-like, but I think it still works for a Warlock. The skull is obviously based off a Cubone skull from memory, so not exact, while the sword is inspired by the Levin sword from Fire Emblem, though with greenish blue colors used like in the Thunderstone, just to be a little interesting. It was easy colors to use, using a lot of the yellows and some reds. I love the beads that I was able to put on the tail. They reference like all the beads that are in Ampharos's Mega form in the tail, but allows me to still keep a normal-ish tail like Ampharos has. I believe I was able to be very creative with this Ampharos Warlock, and think I was able to make a very unique character. This video was voted on by the patrons over on Patreon, who, starting at $3 a month, can vote on monthly and weekly art polls like this one, get early access to content, and get monthly art rewards, starting with character headshots. So if you can, head over to Patreon to become a patron today. Every little bit helps. Anyways, now back to the video. Some of the tavern goers and adventurers called to the quest were busy gorging themselves on the food and drink available, most being barbarians and drunken-fist monks. Yet one knight was eating more than all of them. The Paladin, Orlas of the Giant's Blood, the biggest adventurer taking the quest, with the biggest appetite. The Oath of Ancients Paladin grew up in an orphanage, wanting to be a knight, though many bullied her for her already chubby body, and claiming someone like her could never receive a knighthood. Yet, that didn't stop Orlas from training, using practice dummies alongside hunting and scavenging for food in the woods to help her build up muscle alongside her growing fat. It was during this training that a Green Knight, Sir Tor, found her, impressed with her dedication and spirit, and took her as his squire. Learning the oaths the Green Knights follow with the ancients, respecting the nature and what it can provide, to live life to the fullest, and with dealing out justice to ne'er-do-wells. Orlas earned her knighthood from her teacher, but knew she still had much to learn, promising him she would become the greatest knight in the land. On this quest, she spotted Garleanne and Ferros standing off to the sides, and knew she needed to bring them into the merriment the tavern was providing. These three unlikely adventurers would join together, not only for this quest, but on many adventures, to learn more about themselves and to accomplish their goals. And it all started in a quaint little tavern, and with a quest in a mysterious dungeon. This is probably my favorite of the three that I came up with. Warlock and Druid probably could have made more sense with Snorlax, but the idea to have a kind of bigger knight-like character came to my mind, and I really wanted to do it. Getting some inspiration from Sigward from Dark Souls 3. She's also Oath of Ancients, because I feel like that makes the most sense with someone that still likes to eat a lot and all. Which is why near the end, on her little talberd, I'll draw a tree inspired by the tree that grows on Gigantamax Snorlax. I really like the idea of giving her a hood that could have like the ear parts of Snorlax sewed onto it. That way it, along with the hair, can help represent how the face of Snorlax looks. It claims she has like giant's blood. I kind of really wanted to say half orc because of like the little tusks in her mouth, which were 100% inspired by orc tusks, but wanted to stick with the sort of cream color skin tone like Snorlax has. And I really like the sort of scale pattern I did around the waist for that part of the armor. Was inspired by some Oath of Ancients art that I saw when designing that. Paladin Snorlax is my favorite drawing of these three, and I hope she becomes your favorite too. And that was the Pokemon D&D Adventuring Party, as voted on by Patreon. We're going to be trying a few different things for the weekly polls on Patreon, so we'll likely see a few more rounds of this, along with still having the swaps, and a few other stuff here and there we'll try. To vote on this in the future, along with the other polls, make sure to head over to Patreon and become a patron today. Let me know what you think of these three in the comments, and if you liked what you saw, then leave a like, and subscribe to join our growing little Arcane town, to be in the know of future videos, updates, and events. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later!